and that is their view on silver demand for 2022. Now, Silver Slayer also has some input on this as well, that he spoke to me off camera before the show, and he definitely has a lot of insight to add to this. But just to give you a brief look into this, let's just dive in real quick. So global silver demand forecast to reach a record 1.112 billion ounces in 2022. Now, let's take a look here and see what they have to say. The outlook for silver demand is exceptionally promising for 2022, with global silver demand forecast to rise to a record high of 1.112 billion ounces. The increase will be driven by a record silver industrial fabrication, which is forecast to improve by 5% as silver's use expands in both traditional and critical green technologies. Now, this is something we've been talking about nonstop.
Critical, that word critical, green technologies. Yeah.
This is something we've been talking about nonstop, which is pretty much, we obviously know some of the use cases for silver, but obviously as time goes on, more and more people are getting tuned in to the fact that there's going to be much more of a use case in green energy. So that's always something that to be watchful for in the coming years.
Yeah.
They go on to say physical silver investment demand consisting of silver bars and bullion coin purchases is projected to jump 13% in 2022, achieving a seven-year high. So those of you guys who joined Wall Street Silver, and those of you who also are subscribers on our channel, are likely some of those people who are adding to that increased percentage. So that's insane.
And it keeps going on. Silver's use in jewelry and silverware also expected to strengthen 11% and 21% respectively. That's like, these numbers are insane. What it shows is not only is the industrial sector from green, 5G towers, electric vehicles, solar panels, silver, lithium ion batteries, not only is that demand incredibly high, reaching multi-year highs, also people like you and I, the investing side of things, right? Coins, bars, and jewelry. So everyone wants a slice of the silver pie, but there's not much left. I mean, that's insane.
Exactly. And then the other thing too to think about is something they mentioned here, which is macro and geopolitical conditions. Now, we all heard, we're recording this a week before this episode will come out. So we'll see how things play out throughout this week. But many of us have heard about what's going on in Russia and Ukraine. And, over this weekend, President Biden actually spoke to Vladimir Putin about this. But at the end of Friday, markets just tanked and gold and silver just spiked in response to that. So this is essentially what they're saying. Macro and geopolitical conditions will generally support precious metals prices in the first half of the year. Geopolitical conditions is what I'm referring to. Macroeconomic, we've talked about many times on this channel, which was the support of higher CPI. And I have said that I expect that to begin to come down towards the end of the year, maybe the middle to the end of the year. But in the first half of the year, those macroeconomic conditions will be beneficial to silver. And also, as you can see here, the Silver Institute says, once the pace of US policy rate hikes becomes more evident, the price outlook becomes more challenging. So again, what I've been saying on this channel before. So obviously, we have some demand that we're looking to see rise to the upside in the future. So one thing I want to pose to Silver Slayer here is he actually spoke to me about not just demand, but also supply as well of silver, and some news that actually came out from the Perthman and others. So I'll let you take that away, Silver Slayer.
Yeah, so let me just brief on how this works. So the US Mint, they have to guesstimate the next year how many Silver Eagles they think they're going to sell. So, it's always a guess. It's not like they have a set number. Last year, they guesstimated around 13 million. They were way off. So, they had to make an emergency mintage supply at the end of the year from the San Francisco Mint, 1 million silver eagles, right? Because they literally ran out. It wasn't just like, oh, they were low. The U.S. Mint ran out of eagles. Like there was none left. They can't find silver blanks. A lot of it having to do with the distribution, since like Mexico and Peru, Chile, Australia, China, those are like the top 5 producers of silver. There were so many, border, boundaries and whatever from the virus that silver couldn't get distributed. So they made the 1 million mintage supply, right? They couldn't even produce 13 million silver eagles last year. The first month of January this year, they sold 5 million in the first month. That means in 3 months, they'll already have sold more eagles than they could even produce last year in 3 months. Not only that, more news came out that the Royal Mint and Perth Mint both also are hitting record multi-year highs for demand, which is interesting during this time. You would have thought like last year, the numbers would be higher, but it seems like everyone is trying to buy silver. And the scary part about this is as soon as the U.S. Mint posted that article last year, or maybe a year and a half ago, that they ran out of silver and that there really was a silver shortage, that was the first time we ever heard a mint like admit it, right? They admitted, yo, there is a serious silver shortage. We can't find silver blanks. Yeah. That's when the premiums started to rise. Right then is when American Eagles, instead of $2-3 over spot, started becoming $10-12 over spot, because silver is scarce. So as the numbers 5 million in the first month of January show, these premiums could skyrocket even higher for Eagles, at least, which is insane. And not only just Eagles, Perth Mint and Royal Mint as well admitted it. So we might just see spot price become completely detached from, from the actual price you have to pay. So